What's Up Downtown Breakfast. For this morning's event, we are excited to close out the year with a special DMI Year in Review with a fantastic discussion with some of the most dedicated members of our organization, the DMI committee chairs. These chairs volunteer their time and expertise to further DMI and downtown Madison, and we can't thank them enough for their service. Hopefully today's discussion will give everyone a chance to learn more about DMI, the work of our organization, and ways that you can get involved. Before we get to the discussion, this will be my last opportunity to address you as the DMI board chair. And so I would like to take just a minute to reflect on my time as board chair over the past 2 years. First, although this has been an incredibly difficult year, DMI is in a very strong position. And for that, I have to thank my predecessor, board chairs, and especially Stacy Nemeth, who preceded me as board chair. During Stacy's term, DMI was put on a sound financial footing, and that has enabled us to continue to provide the kind of programming, events, and advocacy and other services to our members as we have in past years, albeit in new ways. DMI would not be where it is today without Stacy's leadership. Second, I want to recognize and thank the incredible DMI staff, Jason Ilstrup, John Chernelia, Carol Ann Hewitt, and Madeline Plummer. It is hard to overstate how creative, effective, and passionate the DMI staff is in the work that they do. So much of their work is behind the scenes that it might go unnoticed, but it shouldn't go unacknowledged or unappreciated. Board chairs will come and go, but the DMI staff is the glue that holds this organization together. And I want to give a shout out as well to my dear friend, previous DMI President Susan Schmitz, who introduced me to DMI when I moved to Madison in 2005 and got me involved in the organization. Thank you, Susan. Next, I want to thank the board members and committee chairs. As I just noted, DMI is a volunteer organization, and I am constantly blown away by just how much of their time, their passion, and their expertise the DMI board members and committee chairs devote to their work for DMI. These are all people who care passionately about downtown Madison, and I can't thank them enough for their work. And finally, I want to thank each and every one of you, our members, for continuing your support for and involvement with DMI. You make DMI what it is. DMI exists because of and for you. Since its beginning, DMI has adapted to the context of the time and to meet the needs of its members. And that ability to change and evolve and pivot is one of DMI's great strengths. And to that effect, the DMI Board of Directors has authorized some structural changes to our leadership beginning in 2021. Starting next year, DMI has decided to split the role of board chairs between 2 co-chairs. This will not only allow for more leadership opportunities within the organization, but also will provide additional bandwidth to the role of board chairs as the importance of DMI's work continues to grow. With that said, I am pleased and couldn't be more confident in turning over the reins to incoming co-chairs Nathan Wadier, shareholder with Reinhardt Berner Van Duren SC, and Megan Jarabic, partner with Von Briesen and Roper SC, whose terms will officially begin on January 1st. Thank you so much to both Nathan and Megan for accepting the positions. We look forward to your leadership, thoughtfulness, and energy in the coming year. Before we continue with the program, I want to thank all of our sponsors of today's event. Thank you to major series sponsor, Wipfli LLP, supporting series sponsors, Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison, Michael Best and Friedrich, and State Bank of Cross Plains, and special contributors, the Edgewater Hotel and UW Health, Unity Point Health Meritor, and Quartz for their support of DMI and downtown Madison. I would also like to thank JP Cullen for participating as our monthly sponsor. We greatly appreciate JP Cullen for their support of today's program and would like to welcome Jeremy Schechterly, Vice President of JP Cullen's Janesville Madison Division, to briefly say a few words. Jeremy will be followed by Anita Mohammed, representing Wipfli LLP and member of the DMI board, as well as DMI's treasurer, followed by DMI President Jason Ilstrup to kick off the discussion. Thank you and welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you and good morning to everybody. My name is Jeremy Schechterly. I am Vice President of JP Cullen. We are a construction management and general contracting construction firm serving our clients in the construction industry since 1892. We have offices Milwaukee, Janesville, and right in the heart of Madison on the Capitol Square. We are a privately owned family business entering our 5th generation of Cullen ownership with 8 family members actively working in the company today. Madison has always been a special place for Cullen with a lot of history, from the construction of Bascom Hall in the 20s, the addition to the state office building at 1 West Wilson in the 50s, the construction of one of the tallest buildings in Madison of Van Hise Hall in the 60s, Manchester Place on the Capitol Square in the 80s, the state capitol restoration throughout the 90s, and bookending the 2000s, 2 major renovations to Camp Randall Stadium, and many current projects like the Hamill Music Center that you can see right on University Avenue in downtown. That is just to name a few. We're honored to work with DMI on the betterment of our community in which we live, work, and play. On behalf of the Cullen family and all of the employees of JP Cullen, I'd like to thank DMI and all of its membership for their hard work and dedication in making Madison a great place to be. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anita Mohammed, and I'm a partner with Whipley LLP and treasurer of the DMI Board of Directors. Whipley is pleased to participate as the major sponsor of the DMI What's Up Downtown Breakfast Series. Thank you for joining us this morning. As a multidisciplined professional services firm, Whipley delivers effective, personalized services to help companies and organizations like yours through these trying times to help create lasting positive impact. We are here to help leaders like you navigate these ever-changing economic environments, and we invite you to visit whipley.com for industry-specific insights for financial institutions, construction and real estate, nonprofits, and more. Thank you for joining today's program, and I hope you all have a great holiday season.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another What's Up Downtown breakfast. We are excited to be here today. We're doing something a little different, and we're going to talk about all the things that have happened at DMI and what is happening in the future. We've got some great changes, as Doug just mentioned. So we're very excited that all of you could join us here today. Want to thank all of you first and foremost. We also want to thank our sponsors. Thank you, Anita and the team at Whipley LLP, the premier sponsor for our event today. They have been a wonderful sponsor of the What's Up Downtown Breakfast for years. And to Jeremy and to George and to Jeannie at the team at JP Cullen, you literally build downtown. So thank you so much for all you do. It's exciting to see your offices continue to grow in the US Bank Plaza there in downtown. So thank you to Jeremy and thank you to Anita again. To kick things off here today, I need to say an enormous thank you to our good friend and current board chair, but only for a few more days, Doug Poland. His leadership and his commitment the last 2 years has been outstanding. As we look back, you made such a huge impact on the organization and on downtown. You have served as a steady guide as downtown has certainly faced many uncharted waters. Your support has been unwavering. Your support of downtown has been incredible. At every single meeting, literally, you say, come and shop downtown. Eat downtown, do whatever you can to support downtown now more than ever. Your passion, your dedication to this organization in downtown is unparalleled. And we would not be here in this position right now if it wasn't for your steadfast leadership. You have done an amazing job of trying to create an inclusive and equitable downtown for everyone. And that is a wonderful mark to leave. And on behalf of the DMI Board of Directors, the staff, and all of us, we cannot thank you enough, Doug. To honor you here today, I am pleased to announce a contribution has been made to the DMI Legacy Fund by your firm, Stafford Rosenbaum, and many friends, family, people you know well. Fellow board members have given to the Legacy Fund in your name. As many of you know, the Legacy Fund was created to honor the vision of DMI's founders and to allow businesses, friends, and families to recognize those who've contributed over and above to DMI and to downtown Madison. And that is certainly you, Doug. We're so grateful to you and all the contributions you've given to DMI. We appreciate your service and congratulate you on this well-deserved recognition. As Doug mentioned, we are also thrilled to have new chairs. As you heard from, we have a change. We have 2 chairs moving forward. Nathan Wadier, a shareholder at Reinhardt Berner Van Buren, and Megan Yarbeck, a partner at Von Briesen and Roper, will be serving as co-chairs starting on January 1st, 2021. So please welcome both. They've been doing great work heading up the Economic Development Committee. Nathan was last the vice chair of the organization, and Megan doing amazing work on the Membership Development Committee. We're so excited. Welcome Nathan and Megan on behalf of everybody. Also excited to announce Mark Richardson from Unfinished Business LLC is our incoming vice chair. Anita Mohammed, who we just heard from Whipley, a partner, is the new DMI treasurer, and Margaret Watson, the CEO of Steve Brown Apartments, will remain our DMI secretary. This is the group of officers we have leading us in 2021, and I cannot think of a better group of people. We also have a few changes on our board as well that I'd like to discuss. First, a huge thank you to Craig Stanley, founding principal at Broadwing Advisors, who is in his final term and final year of his term. He's been a board member for 12 years. We have so greatly appreciated Craig's service on the board over the last 12 years. He's been a true asset with immense experience and expertise in economic development and real estate. We have bent his ear many times over for great information about downtown. He's been a passionate advocate for downtown and a passionate advocate for DMI. He continues to serve on the Economic Development Committee, and he will still be a major contributor to the DMI State of the Downtown, which he gives us data every single year. Craig, we cannot thank you enough for your service. And I'd also like to thank someone also very special to our hearts, Jeff Newman, the Executive Vice President of Madison Gas and Electric, who served as the DMI board chair and treasurer until he recently announced his upcoming retirement. We're very excited about your retirement, but we're certainly going to miss you, Jeff, so much. You have been integral to the financial health and stability and well-being of DMI. Your acumen and expertise has really created a strong and vital organization. And in all truth, he has taught me an amazing amount about finance and really has helped put this organization in a great place. We cannot thank Jeff enough for his service and commitment to DMI and all that he has done for downtown, along with his great counterparts at MG&E. To recognize Jeff and his work on the DMI Board of Directors, I am pleased to announce a contribution to the DMI Legacy Fund from our great friends at MG&E. Thank you, Jeff. We will always be appreciative, and don't be a stranger. We also have several new board members coming on. I'm pleased to announce new directors, Brenda Gonzalez, who's the Director of Community Relations at UW-Madison. She's been an ex officio board member for years. We're excited that she's now on the full board and will be chairing the Inclusiveness Committee. So welcome, Brenda. Welcome as well, Peggy Gunderson, the President and Brand Strategist at Strategic Brand Marketing, who will be the incoming chair of the Quality of Life Committee. Welcome, Peggy. Next up, we have Brian Lee, the President of Revelation PR, Advertising and Social Media. He will be placing Megan as the chair of the DMI Membership Development Committee. And last, but certainly not least, Morgan Ramaker, the Executive Director of B-Cycle with Trek, who is the incoming chair of the Transportation Committee. Please welcome all four to our Board of Directors, to our Executive Committee, and to their committee chair positions. We could not be more excited about these community leaders helping move our agenda forward in 2021. With the addition of these new directors and communities chairs, I'd also like to thank a few people that are no longer committee chairs, but they have moved up in the organization and are still continuing to help. First, obviously, as I mentioned before, Megan Jarabic, thank you for all your work on membership development. We thank you so much that you're now the co-chair of the organization. So careful how hard you work. It may mean a promotion. So congratulations to Megan. Kathy Marks, owner and managing director of TMA Paratus, who's been the steadfast chair of the Quality of Life Committee for the last 4 years. Longtime resident of downtown, longtime person working in marketing, someone that knows the social services background from previous careers. Kathy has been an incredible asset to our organization and been a close personal friend to myself, and really been a mentor in the quality of life space. Kathy, we cannot thank you enough for your service. To Janine Punzel, who's entering her 12th year on the board. She's the principal at 360 Commercial Real Estate. Before that with Hubdy, she chaired with acumen our Transportation Committee throughout the years. and really did an amazing job with all of the changes you're seeing now. She's been, again, also a steadfast advocate for downtown, really knows downtown, and I cannot tell you how much I'm going to miss her. And finally, to Mark Richardson, the president and co-founder of Unfinished Business. Again, he is becoming our vice chair, and he's stepping down as chair of the Inclusiveness Committee. So we'll see a lot more of Mark as he'll become the chair in 2022. Yes, it's 2022. A lot of twos there. So thank you to all of the chairs of these committees for all of your work. We really ask a lot, meeting monthly, executive committee meeting, board meeting. Thank you so much for all you give to the organization. We are excited to announce 2 committee chairs are remaining. Our good friends, Angie Black, a partner at Carlson, Black, O'Callahan, and Battenberg. She'll continue to chair the ever important government relations work with lots happening in the 2021 local elections. And also our good friend Ann New Year Morrison, shareholder at Urban Land Interest and Principal at New Year Investment. She will continue to chair our Economic Development Committee. So today we decided, let's bring all of our chairs in and have a conversation about what is happening in DMI and what is happening downtown. There is so much going on. So we're very excited to have several of our chairs. A few could not make it. Mark Richardson, unfortunately, was unable to make it. And Winnie Karanja, the chair of our Challenge Committee, could not make it. But we've got a great group here today. We've got Nathan Wadier, incoming chair, current vice chair. We've got Janine Punzel, the current chair of the Transportation Committee, Ann Morrison, current chair of the Economic Development Team. Megan Jarabic, with a wonderful Christmas background, is membership development and is becoming chair of the organization. Kathy Marks, welcome Kathy from Arizona, the Quality of Life chair. And last but certainly not least, with the background of the day, Angie Black from Carlson Black, the current and remaining chair of the Government Relations Committee. So as you all know, it has been a tough year. So we're going to start off with a question saying, what have been the highlights for you in your committees that you have seen in 2020? And what gives you hope moving forward? I think we'll start with our good friend and a longtime board member, Janine Punzel. What has been positive that you've seen in the committee this year that gives you hope for moving forward in 2020?
In the committee, Jason, you said?
You got it. Yes, in the committee and or just in transportation in general.
I think it's been amazing how Metro has adapted, during the pandemic to make sure that they're still providing transportation to those who need it in a safe manner. And I think they managed to do that very, very quickly. And so kudos to them for that, for the leadership at Metro. And then also, just through all that, they are making great strides in continued planning for the bus rapid transit project that, I think we're continually hearing about updates and how they are also managing to reconfigure how they're budgeting so that there's a better chance of getting, a larger share of federal aid, even though they're going to be participating at a higher level in the infrastructure costs for BRT. It'll actually be a net zero to the city's budget with the way they're planning if they get those federal funds.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And I think, Janine, your great work of bringing Metro Transit in last week to discuss the possible changes to BRT. We will continue to update through that committee all the things that will be happening in 2021. We know that transportation is a huge priority for Mayor Rhodes Conway. Economic development. What are the bright spots and positive aspects in economic development? We're going to open this question up to 2 people, to Ann Morrison, the current chair of the Economic Development Committee, and to Nathan Wadier as well, longtime practitioner in real estate, both of them in the downtown market. What have been the bright spots you've seen in 2021, and what do we have to look forward to in 2020? What are the bright spots, and what do we have to look forward to in 2021?
I'll start, Nathan, and you can just chime in when you're ready. I think, Economic Development Committee had a very busy year. We had 14 meetings or more, I think, and many of those meetings were done in partnership with other committees. And we've really seen, one of the bright spots about 2020 really was the interconnectedness that we saw in our community and in those committees. But I wanted to talk more about, I think, the things that were bright spots and the things that are gonna pull us out of this going into 2021. Necessity is the mother of invention. People have gotten more creative this year. Crises have led to creativity throughout history. And this year, I think all of our businesses, all of our employers and residents downtown went back and forth between kind of panic, creativity, and a lot of great things came out of that creativity. Some necessary things, from masks to plexiglass to domes to the bipolar ionization system that ULI put in. But some were more magical. Streetery would be one that I'd really like to point out. And I think anyone who has not been downtown needs to go downtown and see the streetery. I would emphasize what Merchant, Lucille, and those groups have done along Pinckney. I think it's a great example of what we can do going forward. It shows us that our community is not limited by our physical spaces, but rather limited by our vision for what those can be. And the nimbleness that those businesses and that the city had in unrolling the streetery should be a model going forward. That kind of creativity is what is going to pull us out of this. And we saw that from the city, too, in other non-downtown efforts like Democracy in the Park. Super nimble, super amazing. Cook It Forward, Destination Madison's Shop Madison Pledge, these kind of creative efforts were really the bright spots for 2020, and I think will make us bright in 2021.
And as always, it was very comprehensive. I think this past year for a lot of us and a lot of our businesses was quite the struggle. Some did well during the pandemic. As Anne's noting, the creativity that was really forced to take place opened up a lot of bright spots. And I think, unfortunately, with the city budget going forward into next year, there's still going to be a lot of things that are going to have to happen and happen quickly. But because of that pressure, I think it gives us a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of economic development situations or ideas that the city is going to look at and I think initiate, largely because they have to. I think those things can be positive. So DMI, through our committees and our advocacy efforts, are putting forth those types of ideas, and I think the city's really in a position to listen and implement them.
Nathan, you mentioned that some businesses are doing well, a lot, unfortunately, are doing poorly. We're certainly seeing that in downtown. The next question is to Megan. That brings up membership, right? And how is DMI doing, right? What are you seeing positive aspects from 2020 in the membership development committee? What are we seeing from our membership, and are people remaining, and how is DMI staying actively engaged with our members, Megan?
Yeah, thanks. I think this is really a story of how DMI has built such an amazing group of individuals and such a great way to connect people throughout the city, because in a time where a lot of membership organizations are really struggling and figuring out what to do and how to move forward, DMI's members have been steadfast. We have seen a lot of new members come in this year and really done our best on the committee to figure out ways to make sure that our members are seeing value in being here. And I think because so much of the action, if you will, was focused really on downtown for the last 6 months, it really shows how important this organization is to connect people to correct information, to decision makers, to conversations that they can actively participate in and really make a change. And so from that perspective, the feedback from our members this year has been wonderful. It has been, thank you so much for giving me a place to see faces still, even though you're in little boxes, giving me a way to get information, finding a way to connect me to the people that I need to talk to about the struggle that I'm having, or the business is having, or our community is having. And so I really think from that perspective, this was a year where DMI really shined in so many ways to our members. And I can think of a lot of examples of that, but there were a lot of, when the pandemic, forced us all home, DMI really utilized its member meetup program and its small group communications program to allow industry sectors to meet and discuss best practices and what they were doing to respond, to allow members to congregate around different topics and get information. And we just had so much great feedback about that. So I could go on and on, but I think from a membership perspective this year, it really was a great year. And we really found ways to communicate to our members in a more clear and regular fashion, which I think we will use as a model moving forward as well, just to get that information out in a way. When you do the work, you get busy doing the work and you're not always talking about the work, right? And so this has really forced us to do that, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that your idea that the way we consume and receive and give out information has changed so much in 2020. And that's been a big priority for DMI to try to get all of the things that are happening downtown quickly to our members, right? It's really a difficult business environment. Businesses love plans, and it's harder than ever to have a plan. And so if there's ways for us to get information out to people, we're going to try to do that. And membership committees have been very thankful in getting that information to other committees. Speaking of getting information, very important topic always downtown is Kathy Marks and the team at Quality of Life. They have been very busy this year getting out information. What have we seen that's been very important this year to your committee, Kathy, the information that we should be getting out to the whole group to talk about some of these major issues that are happening in downtown right now?
Well, so I think the thing that I'm really excited about is, and it's been mentioned before in some of the board meetings, is that we have a community-based crime response grant project that's been funded. And Jason, you've been involved in this more than I have, so jump in to add anything to this. But the reason why we're so excited about this grant, it's $1 million over a 3-year period. And it really is the sustaining piece to the work that we started in the Quality of Life Committee a couple of years ago. And in order to, I'm just going to kind of touch on that for those of you who are not familiar with that, but you know, quality of life is really big. It's abstract, it's subjective. And in order to, you know, measure what we're doing, a couple of years ago, we heard a lot from business owners and a lot of people. They wanted help and assistance and trying to figure out how can we as a community make downtown Madison, you know, how can we increase the quality of life there and reduce and provide a safe environment. So we began listening to people, and we decided the best way to do this is let's use some best practices, grab a framework out there that we can start to structure all of the different activities that are going on. So basically it's kind of like assess, plan, act, evaluate, and measure, and sustain. So this grant is the sustain piece of this. And for those of you not familiar with it, what DMI and the Quality of Life Committee has done over the past couple of years is really bring a lot of different people together to work towards improving the quality of life and safety in downtown. So for example, you know, we have law enforcement. So the focus areas, the focus areas are law enforcement, activation, urban planning, social and human services, public policy, and communication. So all of these organizations, the idea is if we bring people together and we implement different activities within each sector and we measure results along the way, we can achieve long-term and short-term outcomes. So the new grant, when you look at it, and I'm just going to read some things off here, it's really following that same type of structure. And I've always thought of, you know, Jason, you know, I think of you as like this bridge person, like this person who, you know, knows something that on this side, and you bring together this person on this side and you bridge them. And I always think of DMI as kind of this bridge organization. You know, we continue to bring people together with a bunch of really good, caring people. We create these great ideas and then we implement them. So I think that going forward next year, we just stay the course. We continue doing what we do. We add additional, if there's people missing at the table, we invite them in. We continue to plan and we implement the types of activities we can implement. Because I think we need some short-term wins. I think last year or this year, a lot of the experiences that give all of us a quality of life in downtown Madison went away. And I think in 2021, they're going to come back. And each time one of those experiences come back, everybody's going to feel more optimistic. So that's what I hope for 2021.
Yeah, I like that concept of a bridge organization. We try to bring different groups together, right? Different groups that might not be normally a part of the conversation, which I think is a really important topic. And I want to send this question over to Doug. The Inclusiveness Committee and the Challenge Committees have been very busy this year. It's obviously a lot of work to be done to make sure that we're building a vibrant and equitable downtown. Doug, you have been really someone that has pushed DMI on this journey of inclusiveness. What have we been working on in 2020 and in years prior to make sure that we're in a position right now to create an equitable, inclusive, and diverse downtown?
Well, thank you for raising the topic, Jason. I think if we take a look at where we are now, and we think that it was 5 years ago that we launched the Inclusiveness Committee, it was an ad hoc committee as opposed to a standing committee at first. But certainly we recognized a need. I wish we had started it 5 years earlier than that even. As we saw, the events that happened in the past year showed just how really critical having complete involvement of our BIPOC community in Madison is, both to Madison itself, to the city, to the downtown, and also to DMI. That community was underrepresented within DMI and within downtown in particular. And so in 2015, when we launched the Inclusiveness Committee, the board of directors unanimously approved a plan and a strategy to build that committee and to start doing the work of equity and inclusiveness within the organization and within the downtown as well. We made it a standing committee in 2017. Mark Richardson has chaired it for 3 years. And that committee has done incredible work. It is, I don't know if I can say that it gets the largest attendance of any committee in the monthly committee meetings, but it's got to be right up there. It's a very dynamic committee. A lot of people are very involved and engaged in it. If we look at the way that our board of directors looks now versus how our board of directors looked in 2015, it's a world of difference. It's much more representative of our community as a whole. DMI is providing leadership opportunities for leaders in the community coming from our BIPOC community as well, in ways that we simply didn't do before. That is going to have an impact of strengthening our downtown. As we rebuild, as we come back, as Ann and Nathan pointed out, in 2021, and we really rebuild the economy in downtown, it is going to be, by definition, in part because of the work that DMI and others have done, it is going to be a much stronger, broader-based economy with much more participation by the whole spectrum of residents and businesses in Madison. And I'm tremendously proud of the work that DMI has done. It has been a leader in the community. And it's not only in terms of racial equity that we've done very hard work. Some of the most impressive work that the committee has done, the Inclusiveness Committee has done, is in accessibility to downtown. There is a downtown accessibility report that a subcommittee of the Inclusiveness Committee drafted, created. It was a great partnership that we had then with the city to implement it. We continue to push forward. So we are seeing real on the ground changes. Kathy Marks mentioned you need to get some short-term wins, and you do. Even as we set our sights on a much longer-term goal of equity and inclusiveness for all members of Madison, you need some short-term wins, and we've certainly gotten those. And the Challenge Committee, which you mentioned, Jason, as well, is something that we rolled out this year. So this is members of our board of directors who are from our BIPOC community make up that Challenge Committee that Winnie Karanja is chairing. And they have jumped in right away, and they've been very strong in helping to guide DMI on some of the policies and some of the statements that we've made as well.
Yeah, Doug, thank you. And for your beginning leadership with you and Shiva Badar and Dan O'Callahan and Mark Richardson, so many people setting off this work several years ago. It's great to see all the work that Mark Richardson's committee is doing now, that Brenda Gonzalez is going to take moving forward. The new committee with Winnie Karanja and the Challenge Committee has been fantastic. Next up is a changing atmosphere, is local government and government relations. How busy has the Government Relations Committee been, Angie, in 2020, and what have you all been working on?
In 2020, I think we've been busy. We've been doing the work in 2020 that we set out to do when we sort of changed our process for reviewing local candidates, and that was geared toward relationship building. And we spent a good part of our year in our committee meetings continuing to do so, meeting with almost all of our downtown alders, or all of them actually. I know we meet with Mike quite often, and then we've met with Max Prestigiacomo twice. We met with Alder Heck, Alder Rummel, Alder Abbas. So we continued those conversations and talking about key issues and important topics to them and building those relationships and strengthening them. We also talked a lot this year about our process coming up for next year, because we're going into local election season, and sort of reviewing what we did 2 years ago and deciding what we're going to do coming up, which we'll talk about later. So it was a good year. We also spent a fair amount of time reviewing our civic agenda, which most members probably remember. We did a major revamp of our civic agenda a couple years ago, taking it from a more lengthy document and really distilling it down into key principles that DMI really lives by, and being tied to each of our committees and the work that they do. So we've been talking about that and sort of continuing the work on that document to keep it relevant going forward, and focusing in on what's important to DMI each year. So, and we will be undertaking some more revisions to that document looking forward, and utilizing that in our upcoming elections, and talking with the candidates that are going to start coming forth. It's going to be, given what we've been through this past year and all of the challenges we've seen, I would say this is going to be the most important election cycle yet since I've been involved in this committee, which has been, 12 years. So I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a lot of work. I will also say one of the sort of positive unintended consequences that has come out of the pandemic for us as a committee is it's going to really help facilitate our process going into elections, because Zoom meetings, whether we love them or hate them, it's going to provide a really good platform for our committee to really engage with the candidates in our local elections. And we are pretty excited about that participation, because it's a very, very important year for us.
It certainly is a lot ahead of that. It's a great segue to our next question, which we're going to ask to all of the members. Before we do that, though, I want to make note, if any of you in the audience have a question, please submit it through the Q&A function at the bottom. We've got a couple in there already. We've got some time at the end for our panel for questions. So please submit your questions in the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. So I want to move forward to 2021. What do you all see as your major area of focus for your committees in 2021? Janine, starting with you, transportation, what are we most focused on for 2021?
Sorry about that. I got a battery low message. I forgot to plug my computer in. So why don't you move to another group and I'll get that taken care of.
Okay. Honestly, I think that's a perfect summation of 2020 right there. Yes, battery low, can't talk. All right. So we're going to go to our team at the economic development team, to Nathan and to Ann. What do you think the major area of focus? Obviously, a lot of work to do, but what's the major area of focus in 2021 for the economic development?
That's a hard question, just because economic development does interplay with so many other committees. As I mentioned before, I think we had 14 meetings this year, and I think 2 or 3 of them were in connection with our inclusiveness committee, because economic development and inclusiveness, economic development and quality of life, economic development and transportation, they're all interrelated. I think when we look at our focus for 2021, we're just overall going to be focused on connecting folks and businesses and advocating for the resources that can bring people back downtown safely. Downtown, it's not a mindset. It's not like a server that my kids play on in Minecraft. It's a physical space. And we need you all back here in your offices and in your businesses, and finding the ways to do that safely in the new year, I think, is going to be our focus. And when I look at our civic agenda for the past year, I don't think a lot of our focus has changed. You know, we want to retain, we want to encourage businesses to be downtown. We want them to be diverse. We want to encourage use of TIF to help do that. We want to, leverage UW-Madison as an economic driver. We want quality schools. And how can we get all these things? And I like what Kathy said about, bringing more people to the table, and we're going to continue to do that. We've continued to build on our partnerships with other economic development organizations and other more diverse organizations in our community. And I think that's going to be a big focus as we push on all the levers that we can to bring people back and to make downtown more welcoming for everybody.
For myself as incoming co-chair, looking at this year, I was amazed at how much collaboration increased amongst all our partners, but not necessarily engagement across the board. And one of my goals is to try to re-engage those partners that haven't been as engaged this past year and listen to them and find out from them what are some of the areas that DMI can help in this next year. And through that increased collaboration, get them at the table as well, as both Ann and Kathy have noted, and see if we can make a difference this next year on things that people raise as issues that DMI should get involved with.
Can I just add one more thing? I think this is something that's been bubbling up, as we've, I talked a little bit about Streetery and the difference that that's made. I think a big focus will be not just on bringing people back, but bringing people back in different ways and using the resources and the investment that we've made in downtown. Again, I said, we have a great resource. We are not a mall. We have a lot of local businesses. We've got a lot of infrastructure that just other places in Madison don't have. And we should look at ways to leverage that. We should look at the future. Are we using it in the right way? Is State Street used in the right way? Could it be used in better ways? So I think that visioning for, we're not going back to normal, we're going back to a new normal or rebirth, and harnessing that creativity to think about how we can use those will be a big focus for the committee.
And I think that's a great point. People's minds have changed about what possibilities are. And I think that's enormous for revisioning and understanding and reimagining downtown. Janine apparently has her computer plugged back in. So we're going to go back to Janine in transportation. Janine, what will the committee be focused on?
Well, and now if I can get through this without my dogs barking, it will be a miracle. But for 2021, I always talk about Kathy picked up quality of life after, when I transitioned into transportation, and Morgan Raymaker will pick up the transportation committee. So I have a good record of introducing upgraded chairs when I vacate a position. So one of the things that I think is really exciting about Morgan taking over this year, we've combined our bike subcommittee and folded it completely back into transportation. And I think, Morgan's experience with her, many years at B-Cycle and just her involvement in the bike community, that'll be really exciting as the group changes. And we've always focused on multimodal transportation, but I just think I'm excited to be a participant in the committee and see which direction things go under Morgan's leadership. Also excited to kind of pick up on one of the things that Ann said about the Streetery program. The parking utility has been a participant in making that happen. And so it's just exciting the amount of participation we have from city staff in all the transportation related, disciplines within the city. And they're attending our committee meetings regularly. And we really appreciate getting, updates from the experts with, day in, day out working on these issues. And so I think that will only continue and will be strengthened. And that's one of the good things that has come out of this is our ability, as people mentioned before, to bring more people to the table, even though they are, that was Megan's comment, I think, in the little boxes. So I think that's really helped. And our committee participation across all committees has gone up this year. So that's exciting to me. I think that'll continue.
Absolutely. That virtual has been very strong in bringing new people to the table. I think that begs the question to Megan. membership is a huge part of it. We are a member-based organization. I work for the members. We do what you guys want with the civic agenda. What's the focus going to be in 2021? Sort of an uncertain year for many of these businesses. What will the focus of the Membership Development Committee be in 2021?
Yeah, I think we will continue to encourage members to give feedback on what they need and what they want in a time of kind of instability or at least change. And so we hope that members will continue to give that feedback. The other thing, and really a more direct program that we're just starting to roll out and really working in the first quarter of next year, is the member sponsorship program that we developed at the end of last year. And I'm not sure how many people are aware of that yet, because we're still kind of forming our way through it. But one thing we want to make sure of next year is that we're really tuning into the members that are struggling and how we can help and how we can stay engaged with them and how we can keep voices at the table to make sure that we're not losing such great talent and participation. And so that's one way that the membership committee is really focused on, and I think something we'll continue to focus on moving forward. The other way, and it's kind of funny because it's amazing how quickly we fatigue to certain things, and Zoom was such a great way to connect when we first started, in a way that we really were excited to be able to still see people's faces. And now we're starting to get a little bit fatigued on the Zoom meeting, I think. So again, just reimagining how we can communicate and what kind of experiences we can give to people from a programming standpoint and a membership participation standpoint. So, the second you find a lane that seems to be working, right, you have to change, and that's okay. DMI has always been really good at that, and Jason wears running shoes all the time for a reason. So we'll keep running and changing. There you go. Running and changing how we handle things. And from a membership perspective, we just hope that you'll all continue to participate, to give feedback, to let us know what you need, and to continue to connect with each other, because that's going to help us through especially the next 4 very cold months. And I say 4, really it's probably like 6, but we can hope.
I thought we were trying to be positive here, Megan. We're only going to be 3.
4.
Right, we're only as strong as a membership. So we hope people stay involved, stay active, stay engaged, because honestly, there are some really big things happening in downtown. We need everyone at the table to do that work. Speaking of quality, a lot of big things happening. Kathy, you did such a good job answering the first question. You talked about the community-based crime reduction grant and much of the other work. What else do you think quality of life will be focused on in 2020?
Well, I think, I can say with 100% certainty that the quality of life in 2021 is going to get better for everyone in downtown Madison and the greater community. And, I look at this year and I think that what I see is that the relationships we've already had in place have become stronger. And, Megan, you just mentioned the Zoom fatigue. I think people are looking for ways to engage physically. And I think when we look at a lot of our work, we've got this kind of grassroots development work going on where we're working with, public and private sector, bringing them together. I think I go back to returning, let's get some of those experiences back. And, you mentioned I've been a, long-term Madison resident, and I'd always say, I can't imagine living anywhere in Madison other than downtown. So that experience for me is something I will always be grateful for, but I want more people to have that. And it's a neighborhood. To people that live there, downtown is a neighborhood. And Madison is rich with other neighborhoods. So I'd like to see more people living downtown, more people that feel like this is my neighborhood and I want to take care of it. Because when you live downtown, you're constantly engaging with all the business owners and it becomes part of your experience. So I think if we can somehow increase efficiencies for action, like we're great at planning and there's really good work going on with the downtown group that you're involved with, Jason. So there's a lot of ideas. And when we get an idea that can be acted on, let's bring it forward. Let's get people together and let's do something. And again, let's just start that momentum of returning to experiences. And I agree what other people have said. It's not going back to what we had. We have a really great opportunity to do some new things and to be more inclusive. And all of those discussions have been going on this past year. So we've had this great opportunity to plan. And now I think it's just going to be just a return to some really good ideas being implemented.
Speaking of action, the government committee, Angie and the team, I think is about to have a very active 2021. Angie, what are you guys going to be working on at government?
Well, good question, Jason. No, like I alluded to earlier, this year is going to be a very busy year for our committee because we are headed into a local election cycle. As of January, I don't know the specific date, we will know who the candidates are. We know of at least 6 alders, including a number of veteran alders that are not running again. So it's going to be very active. And as I noted before, I can't think of a more critical election cycle in my experience since I've been involved in the committee, both as a member and as the chair. I think what this last year has shown us is we have a lot of issues and work to do in 2021 that is going to require a very good and active and thoughtful council. I say this a little sheepishly, but we have seen some division in our council over the last year as these issues have come to a head. Some fighting, some behavior that isn't necessarily productive. And so, you know, I think it is going to be very critical that we have a council in Madison that can tackle these issues that have come out over the last year in a meaningful and successful way. And not the least of which is, you know, the budget for our city. You know, this pandemic and all of the things that have come out of it and other issues have impacted our city and their funding. And we have a lot of important issues that need to be tackled that are going to require money and funding and support from our city and our council. It is not going to be an easy task. And so for our committee, you know, we are prepared to do the hard work to try to do our best job of both encouraging candidates that fit that bill, but also offering our support and sharing our goals and perspectives as an organization with them to try to help facilitate that, because it's going to be a very significant election cycle. And beyond that, there's going to be very significant and important work that needs to be done by our council that can only be done if we can get folks in there that have the vision and can also work together.
And you know, I think it's going to be a big year for government relations, getting back involved in the endorsement process. Please, if you're interested, you know, come join us at Government Relations. A lot of great topics happening. All right, we got a ton of questions from our audience. I'm going to try to paraphrase a few of them, several of them first about affordable housing. I'm going to ask this to probably Nathan, Ann, and Angie, and a few others who have worked directly in this space, right? Where do you see the future of affordable housing downtown? And how can we all walk towards a future downtown that is vibrant, walkable, diverse, and safe? And I think I'll begin with you. You do a lot with affordable housing in projects, working on city committees. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there is a subcommittee to the Economic Development Committee that was started. It's run, I think, mostly by Katie Rice and Dan O'Callaghan to try to define kind of the issues around affordable housing downtown and propose solutions to addressing those. And I think we really have to give a lot of kudos to the city, who has been expanding funding for affordable housing, and that's a lot of what it needs is funding. And then, you know, and our federal government has not created a lot of new funding sources. So it really is a challenge to find the money to create this kind of housing. But the other challenges are many of them around zoning, and that's an issue that the Economic Development Committee and I think DMI as a whole is tracking, along with kind of some of our partners in the development community at Smart Growth. The city has proposed a series of zoning tweaks that would make it easier to add needed housing. Affordable housing is important to economic development. You see a lot of corporate relocations right now throughout the country, and and a lot of those corporations are relocating because they want places that have a lower cost of living for their employee. So adding new jobs does require us to really chip away at this affordability crisis. Nathan, do you want to add anything? Or Angie?
And I saw Ron Luskin had put a similar question out there in regards to what we're going to be doing to advocate change, for lack of a better word. But I think despite Madison labeling itself, and this is a pretty sweeping general statement, labeling itself as progressive, progress really requires change. And a lot of the difficulties development has had, affordable housing has had, is the resistance to change, whether that be from the city itself, neighborhood groups, basically the status quo, just that fear of change, which is natural. I think DMI really has to push to set new precedent and use those examples where change has happened to show that it's great, it's good, and we need to be more willing to do it. And this past year has really exposed, as Angie had noted, a lot of issues that not only Madison, but in our case, particularly Madison has developed over the years, and how things need to change in order to make the progress. And DMI is going to be involved in that. And I think we're really committed to pushing forward on that.
I'll just add really quick. I think that one thing that DMI has done historically and will continue to do and potentially refine is the education component of what it means, what affordable housing means. Too often, you know, when we try to pursue housing projects on a broad spectrum, you know, both from tax credit housings all the way up to market rate housing, we get a lot of pushback, and affordable housing is thrown out as a term in a narrow way, right? Subsidized housing, and we can't solve the problem just through tax credits and grants. It's not a big enough pot to fix the problem. So I think something DMI has been good at, and that we will continue to do, is to educate people on what is affordable housing and what are the solutions to achieving it, because it's not just one solution. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, one other thing I should mention,
Yes.
Jason, you can chime in, but Jason has done a lot of work around this issue and creating better relationships, I think, with the Urban League through Ruben, who's on our board, and talking with them about how we can create either mentorship or resource communities to help make sure that people have access to the information and resources they need to bring new developments. And I know Jason is working with the folks who are bringing, helping to create relationships with the ACRE program going forward, which is new to Madison. And I don't know if you were about to mention that, Jason, but those are great, great progress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right, Ann. And I think there's a lot happening in this field, that we're working directly with the city on it. And what I would say is get involved in DMI, right? Come and join us at the Economic Development Committee. You know, the 3 experts, Nathan, Ann, and Angie, I would be hard pressed to find 3 greater experts on this subject in our community, and they're all part of our team. I think one last very quick question from Megan. I think it's important to keep members engaged, right? And we know a lot of members are going through difficult financial times. We think it's more important than ever that they stay involved in groups like DMI, the Chamber, United Way, Urban League, whatever that group is. Megan, how can maybe members that are struggling stay involved in DMI?
Yeah, so we really, again, it comes back to asking you to reach out to Carol Ann or myself or Brian Lee or Jason to really talk about what your status is and what is going to be possible for you as a member in the coming year. And our job is really to see if we can help find a solution for you. And we are trying to be creative in determining what that solution is, because of the importance and commitment that DMI has to keeping voices at the table, especially engaged members who want to stay, and the world has just put them in a situation where they can't financially make it happen. So please reach out to Carol Ann or Jason or Brian Lee or myself. Please ask for help if you need it. We have so many great ways to connect you with resources and to help retain you as a member. And we really, really want to do that. So please let us know. And if you are on the flip side of that and you're a business that has done okay this last year, or you're a business that has a commitment to the community and wanting to keep people engaged in these conversations, please reach out to us as well, because we have opportunities to connect businesses who are willing to and able to sponsor some members in their membership for next year to get us through this hard time. And so if any of your businesses or if you individually are interested in helping with that, please let us know so that we can connect you to those members who need the help.
Megan, thank you. We are only as good as our membership. Please contact us if you need any assistance and get involved in 2021. There are major things happening downtown. Unfortunately, many businesses right now downtown are having existential questions, and we need to do everything we can to support them through our business, through helping them out, through advocacy, all of the above. If you want downtown to be strong, vibrant, and equitable, remain involved in groups like DMI, the Business Improvement District, the Chamber, United Way. All of these groups are working very hard. So please stay involved. I want to say a huge thank you to all of our chairs, to Janine Punzel. Thank you to Ann Morrison in Economic Development. Thank you, Kathy Marks, Angie Black, Megan Jarabic. We are just so thankful for all of the work that you do. To Megan and to Nathan, welcome to the team. We are so excited to have you as co-chairs. They're going to bring a fantastic new element to the organization. And to Doug Poland, an enormous thank you from all of us, from the board of directors, from the entire staff, from everybody. You have done so much over the last 2 years. You've moved, you've taken a new job, you've had a huge caseload, and you have been an amazing steward and leader for DMI. I personally am so thankful for your work. Doug, thank you very much. I absolutely want to say thank you to all of our speakers and all of our partners. The meetings have been fantastic. We are so appreciative. And in particular for this event, our leading sponsor, Whipley LLP, Ho-Chunk Gaming, Madison, Michael Best & Friedrich, the State Bank of Cross Plains, the Edgewater Hotel, UW Health, Unity Point, Meriter and Courts, and then absolutely to JP Cullen and the team. Thank you for your continued sponsorship, JP Cullen. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for all being part of it. Sorry we went a little long today. We really do appreciate it. Hope you all remain healthy. Have a wonderful holidays, and we'll see you in 2021 at a DMI event. Talk to you soon. Bye now.